Hi everyone, welcome back into another video of Matt Sports Talk, and in this video we are going to be this is going to be strictly national tournament. We are going to be going over all of the Crossroads League not the Crossroads League, but we are going to be looking at the bubble teams that I have on my sheet of paper, where they stand in their final RPI, where they stand in their final quad records, and ARC if that is applicable. If that is, I want to say if it applies in terms of the ARC number, because applicable, I get a little tongue tied when I pronounce that, so I apologize. So our first bubble team, and again, this is going to be my final national tournament prediction based on the list of bubble schools only that I have listed on the sheet of paper, and then tomorrow, of course, I'll be going over the final my final projection in terms of seeding lines among the teams with auto bids, as well as those that will receive at large bids. That will be coming your way tomorrow. Can't wait to dive into that brand new content, I might add. That's going to be coming your way tomorrow, and super excited about that. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Cannot wait to do that tomorrow, and that is going to be my final episode before next weekend, once the opening rounds of the national tournament get underway. So our first bubble team here is Texas A&M Texarkana, and they are 67th in the RPI, and their strength of schedule is 148th, so not really good in that category. They're 20-9, and their opponent's winning percentage is .499. So where is Texarkana in terms of their arc? They are 8th in their respective arc. Now again, that's not too terribly bad, but that is a team with only 8 total teams in the arc, and of course those conferences, there's only 2 conferences that represent that. That is the SAC, the Sooner Athletic Conference, as well as the Red River. And yeah, those are the only 2 conferences in that arc, the SAC as well as the Red River. So not too terribly bad for Texarkana in terms of their arc. And obviously you want to be a lot higher than that. And then you go down to their quad records. And for Texarkana, they are a bubble team, and their quad record numbers 0-6 in quad 1. So I don't think they get in based on that. They are 6-1 in quad 2, so that obviously helps them. 2-2 in quad 3, so that doesn't really help, and then 12-0 in quad 4, which again, that helps, but that's obviously not really the one that you want to pay attention to. So for Texarkana, yeah, I think they have a really good case in terms of their quad 2, but I don't see them getting in because they are 0-6 in quad 1, and I just don't see them getting in terms of that. So in my opinion, I think they are out of contention for an at-large bid. Then we get to Bethel out of Indiana. Of course, I talked about them in the last video. 37th in the RPI, 26th strength of schedule, 20-10, 559 in terms of opponents' winning percentage. You look at them in their North Arc, they are the 5th best team out of 40 total teams, because there are 16 teams there's 40 teams in the North Arc, and that means that if you are the 5th best team among 40 total, hey, like that's really good. So Bethel, I think for sure is in, and then I alluded to their quad records earlier in my last video. 4-8 in quad 1, not bad. 5-2 in quad 2, so that definitely helps out. And again, you only don't want to play 2 or 3 quad 2 games, because that doesn't look good to the committee. Really good numbers for Bethel. 7 total quad 2 games. That's probably right about where you want to be at. 7-0 and 4-0 respectively in the final 2 quads. Bethel, definitely I have them in. And then of course I alluded to IWU earlier, or actually just a few minutes ago, and IWU 45th in the RPI. Their strength of schedule is 8th, 17-13, 606 opponents' winning percentage, and I alluded to them 8th in the North Arc, which is not bad. I mean, if you're the 8th best team out of 40 total in this region, again, you're looking really good. And then of course, I alluded to their quad 1, 6-11 in quad 1. Now, they played 17 quad 1 games, so again, you don't really want to load up that much, but then again, you want to have as many quad 1 wins as you can. So the 6 quad 1 wins, that looks really good. And I alluded to earlier, 2-1 in quad 2, 3 total quad 2 games. I don't think that looks good to the committee, but 5-1 in quad 3, that looks good, and then 3-0 in quad 4, which again, that looks good as well. But I don't know if Iowa gets in or not. I think they have to get in, and I shouldn't say they have to, but in terms of strength of schedule, I think they have a really, really good chance of getting in just in terms of their strength of schedule number. So that is my view of them. Huntington, I alluded to them earlier, 5-11 in quad 1, 3-0 in quad 2. Again, quad 2, total games kind of low. But 5 quad 1 wins, that looks good. 6-0, 6-0, 2-0 in the final 2 quads. They are the 6th best team in the North Arc. So again, I think they're looking really good to get in. I would have them in, as well as Indiana Wesleyan. And then Huntington's final RPI number 47, 16th strength, 16 in strength of schedule, 574 opponent's winning percentage. So yes, Huntington would be a team that I would have in. The next one in is the Cumberlands, and they are out of Kentucky, and they are 30th in the RPI, 5th in strength of schedule. So again, really, really good numbers there. And they are 19-11, 601 opponent's winning percentage, and Cumberland's in their arc, they are 10th in the East Arc. So again, you want to be roughly in the top 10 in your arc to have a really good chance for an at-large bid. So again, Cumberland's is kind of on the borderline in terms of their arc. I still think they get in because of being in the top 5 in the strength of schedule in terms of the whole country. That definitely helps them. And again, I'm not going to, I wasn't able to go through each individual team to look at their resume and everything to make these final predictions, but I definitely do think Cumberland's gets in because they have a top 5 strength of schedule. And again, the Mid-South Conference, one of the toughest conferences in the whole country, I definitely have them in. And looking at they're looking at their quad records. They are 6-11 in quad 1. So again, 6 quad 1 wins. That looks really good. 3-0 in quad 2, so they do have a low amount of quad 2 games, which again, that might hurt them somewhat. 2-0, 7-0 in quads 3 and 4 respectively, which again, I think Cumberland's definitely gets in. And so far, I definitely will. Now, in terms of the bubble team so far that we've talked about, and again, if I have to make another part 2, if I have to make a part 2 video going over all these bubble teams, I definitely will do that, because these are my final predictions. So outside of Texas A&M, Texarkana, I think everybody else so far that we talked about gets in. Bethel out of Indiana, Indiana Wesleyan, Huntington, and the Cumberlands out of Kentucky. So now we get to Cumberland. And now Cumberland, they're more interesting. They are 63rd in the RPI, so again, not really good to be that far down. However, they are 6th in strength of schedule. Again, one of the best in the whole entire country in that category. I know they're 13-14. They have a below 500 record. Again, but we saw that last year with Lindsey Wilson that was 10-13. They had a top 5 in strength of schedule last year. They still got in. Cumberland 6th in strength of schedule, 601 opponent's winning percentage. And then looking at their quad records, Cumberland they are 1-14 in quad 1. So again, not good at all. You definitely want to have more than one quad 1 win. However, they are 5-0 in quad 2, 2-0 in quad 3, 5-0 in quad 4. So for Cumberland, this one's tricky to me because of I don't like seeing the 1-14 in quad 1, but I do like seeing the 5-0 in quad 2. This is a really, really tough prediction for me for the Cumberland. I don't know. I think, though, if you're the selection show committee, I think you really have to take into consideration their strength of schedule being in the top 10. I think because of that, I still think they get in. However, it would not surprise me if they don't. So this is kind of a 50-50 prediction with the Cumberland. I don't really know 100% if they're in or not. So again, this is going to be a team to watch on that selection show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, that's for sure. I'm kind of 50-50 on them, predicting them to be in or not. Now, granted, I know the Mid-South is a super, super tough conference. They all play each other. But, I mean, you look at their record, 13-14. I believe they went 1-11 in terms of their conference. So, yeah, I don't really know about them. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. So our next bubble, so that's them. Our next bubble team is Carroll out of Montana. This is another interesting one because they're in the Frontier, and this is a team that lost in their opening round of their league tournament. And now I know that Carroll, where are they at in the RPI? They are Okay, here they are. 46th in the RPI. Now, their strength of schedule is 58th, so they are down in that category. 19-9, 537 opponents winning percentage. So we look at their arc. They are 10th in the West arc. So again, that's kind of borderline to get an at-large bid when you're that far down in your arc. And then their quad records, they are 4-5 in quad 1, which is not bad. Not bad at all. But you look at their quad 2, 4-3, which is not the greatest. Then they're 6-1 and 5-0 respectively in quads 3 and 4. So again, this is another tough call for me to predict. I think because of how tough the Frontier Conference is, I just think that Carroll still gets in. I really do, because now I know their RPI isn't great, their strength of schedule is not the greatest, but I do think that because of how tough the Frontier is, I still think they get in. So that is a view of them. And our next team down, let me adjust my screen real quick, and I apologize for my phone falling down for a sec. And that's too high. It's going to fall down again. So I'm gonna try and get this to work. So again, in this part 1, I'm going to try to stick to no more than 20 minutes. And then if I have to, I'm going to record another part going over my final predictions. So our next team down was Kaiser. And they're another interesting team. They're 64th in the RPI. Now, their strength of schedule is 111th. So again, not really good number there. But they're 16-8, but again, they're not really to that 20-win threshold that you want to be at in terms of the minimum. Opponent's winning percentage is 512. You look at them in their arc, and they would be more than likely, yes, in the East arc, and they are 14th in the East arc out of 16. So again, not the greatest number you want to be at, but I've seen some teams make it that far down. Now, Cumberland, I forgot about them in their arc. They are 16th in their East arc. Again, not the greatest there. Kaiser's 14th. So we look at Kaiser's quad record. Kaiser is 3-1 in quad 1. So again, they've only played 4 quad 1 games, so not bad. 5-4 in quad 2, not the greatest. Now, here's what could really hurt Kaiser. They're 2-3 in quad 3. You want to be as perfect as possible in quad 3. I think that hurts them. I don't think Kaiser gets in based on those numbers. And that actually, continuing on with teams in the Sun Conference, St. Thomas right below Kaiser in the RPI, 65th. Now, their strength of schedule is 42nd, so that's actually really, really good. And they are 16-11, 550 opponents winning percentage. And St. Thomas right above Kaiser in the East arc at 13th, so again, not too terribly bad. And then we look at St. Thomas's quad record. St. Thomas 2-6 in quad 1, which is not good. 3-4 in quad 2, that does not look good at all. And then 6-1 and 5-0 respectively. I don't think St. Thomas gets in either. I just do not think that. I don't think them or Kaiser gets in. So those are my views of them. And again, I'm going to try to keep this roughly around 17, 18 minutes, and then I will record another part, continuing on with my predictions in terms of all my bubble teams on the on the list. Bethel out of Kansas is the next team on the bubble list. Bethel out of Kansas, they are 55th in the RPI. Now, they did get an auto bid, okay? They did get an auto bid out of the KCAC. So again, they don't really matter per se, but for conversational purposes, 87th in strength of schedule, 20-9, 521 opponents winning percentage in their arc, and this was Bethel out of Kansas. They are 11th in their Midwest arc, so again, not the greatest, but not the worst either. And then we look at their quad records, and they are 2-4 in quad 1, which is not great. They are 7-4 in quad 2. So again, that quad 2 number looks really, really good at 7-4, 4-1, and 7-0 in the last 2 quads respectively. But again, they're locked in because they got an auto bid because of Evangel winning the KCAC tournament as well as the KCAC regular season as well. Then we get to St. Mary. This one is interesting. They are 48th in the RPI, 54th strength of schedule, 20-10, 550 opponents winning percentage. So we look at St. Mary in their Midwest arc. They are 12th out of 16, so not bad. Then we look at their quad records, and for St. Mary, they are, okay, here they are. They're 0-8 in quad 1, which is not great. However, to offset that, they are 8-2 in quad 2, 4-0, and 8-0 in the last 2 quads, respectively. I don't think St. Mary gets in because of being 0-8 in quad 1. They don't have any quad 1 wins. So this is a team that I do not think gets in my opinion. So I would have St. Mary out if it was me, based on my prediction. Then we get to Bethany out of Kansas. They're another interesting team, and they are 77th in the RPI. So again, they're right on the borderline of being in. Their strength of schedule 72nd, 16-12, 537 opponents winning percentage. In terms of their respective Midwest arc, they are not in the top 16, and their quad records 1-8 in quad 1, 3-4 in quad 2, 5-0, 7-0 respectively. I don't see Bethany out of Kansas being in either, so that is an updated view of them. And then this is going to be the last team that I talk about before I record a part 2 video going over these predictions, and that is Grandview out of Des Moines, Iowa. And for Grandview, they are in their arc. They are in the, they're in the Midwest arc. They're 13th out of 16, so not bad. Then we look at their quad records for Grandview, and they are 54th in the RPI, 22-8 their record, and their strength of schedule for Grandview, there they are. Their strength of schedule 134th, which is not great. Their opponent's winning percentage is 497. And then in their respective arc, they're 1-6 in quad 1, which again is not great, is not good at all. They are 3-2 in quad 2, so not great there either. But in quads 3 and 4, they are 7-0 and 11-0 respectively. This is kind of a really tough call to make for Grandview, because I know they finished as the number 3 seed in the Hart tournament and regular season as far as that goes. But I don't really know. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one, like I was with Cumberland when we talked about them earlier on. I don't know about Grandview. Now, I mean, I know they do have a couple of good quality wins on their resume. I can't remember off the top of my head who they were against, but I just think that this could go either way for the committee putting them in or not putting them in. I don't really know if they have done enough to be in, so this is a big question mark for me. I personally don't think they make it. If it was me, that is, at least to me, but it's going to be interesting to see how the committee decides on that as we head into the selection show Thursday. So that's going to do it for part 1 of this video. Stay tuned for part number 2, because we still have a lot of bubble teams to get to, and I may have to record a part 3 going over all of this. So again, this could be, I know this is going to be a ton of content, and it's going to be several videos, but definitely just bear with me on this, because this is going to be very, very helpful and informative information. So again, please make sure that you stay tuned for that. So I'll see you soon momentarily with part 2.